Hi everyone, and welcome to my kit review of Bronco's 17-pound self-propelled gun, better known as the Archer. This is in 1/35th scale and is a plastic kit. This is very much designed for the medium to advanced modeler and shouldn't be attempted by any beginners because of the small and intricate parts, along with the extensive photo etch parts as well. Now, the Archer was used by the British, Canadians and Poles during World War II, and within the kit there are colour guides for all three of those. However, the Egyptians and the Israelis did use the Archer as well, so there are options for you if you want to make your own adjustments and improvements to this kit. Now, as far as the kit goes, there are over 600 plastic parts, 432 individual track links to make a movable track, over 200 etch parts, and also this is around a 14 to 15-year-old kit now. I've given it around sort of 8.5, 9 out of 10, and I'll go into the reasons why it hasn't received a full 10 out of 10, but I would like to say this is an excellent kit and I highly recommend it. You will need to do a lot of intricate sub-assemblies to put the kit together. The detail is superb and very crisp, and the fit is outstanding. Had a little bit of issue putting the two whole parts together, but other than that everything fits together like a glove. There are a few pin marks and seams as well which will need your attention, but on the whole most of the pin marks are actually hidden. Now, the actual box is jam-packed with lots of goodies and a nice glossy instruction manual. We have the track links, we have the lower hull, all come in nice sealed bags. We'll go into the sprues in a little bit more detail in a moment. And there we have some clear plastic parts and the photo etch, little springs, some string, and then we have the decals as well. First of all, the actual hull, nice crisp detail, locating areas for where the bogies need to go. And also you can see the locating areas for the interior detailing, because this kit does come with front detailing where the radiators go. Now, for the track links themselves, you can replace these if you wish to. There are aftermarket metal ones out there. But these are very nice, very crisp, need a little bit of cleaning up, but then all track links do, and each track link does come with an individual metallic number. Now, you don't have a great deal to play with, so you don't want them springing away and being lost, so be very careful. 101 links on each side. The kit comes with 432, so you don't have a great deal to play with. Also, there is an option where you can use the track links as extra armor on the vehicle. However, there aren't enough links for that, so you will need to buy Bronco's track link set if you wish to do that particular option. Now, for the actual brochure itself, this is outstanding. Very impressed indeed. On the first page you have all of the details, painting for Mr. Hobby Colour, Humble and Tamiya. All of the Far East language is fully translated. Each of the pages are clearly marked out. Where there's a little bit of a grey area with any particular part of the construction, you will get zoomed in with closer pictures. There are the odd one or two photos through there as well, which will help. And quite frankly, it is so well set out that you really can't go wrong at all. There were a couple of minor mistakes, but again, nothing that will affect the build in any shape or form. It gives you clear details of any of the options, because there are the early or late options on this particular build, and it will clearly mark out what you need to do when following along with each one of those particular options. Also, it will give you options around whether you wish to use the Polish, Canadian or Scottish division version, and again that will be marked out which parts you should be using and which parts you shouldn't. So yeah, very impressed indeed with this booklet. Now, as we come up to the colour plates and the decal guides, there was one small issue. I don't know if it was a misprint, but the actual option 1 for the Polish 7th Anti-Tank Regiment is based on a vehicle in Italy in 1943. Now, the Archer didn't actually come into operation until 1944, so that may well have just been a misprint for the date there. But a nice bright colour scheme, or you can then use the standard olive drab on the other ones, including the Canadian and the Scottish division. And there's details of all the references used at the back as well. So yeah, wonderful booklet, nice and clear and very helpful indeed. Now we'll go through each of the sprues. I'll just give you a general overview. First off, the actual sprue to instruction set out is a good one. Now what I mean there is that you're not going to have to keep pulling out lots of different sprues to complete one particular component. Most of the sprues are designed to complete each component. Obviously it's not exact, but it is a good layout, and I was really pleased with it. As far as flash goes, there was minimal amounts of flash. Very impressed, bearing in mind that, this is a 15-year-old kit now. It was very, very good. No issues at all with the flash. Seam lines, there are quite a few seam lines. They will need attention. Again, this is very much an intricate kit. Whereby you have to build up the components, and you will need to give each individual piece attention in the sense of cleaning it up with those seam lines. Now, as far as the actual pin marks go, around about 80% of the pin marks will be covered up by other plastic parts as you construct it. However, there are areas which will need to be filled or to be cleaned up. Especially with the ammo case holder on the interior. If you have that in the open position, there's around 8 there that will need to be filled in and completed. Now, while we're looking at the sprues, there is one major issue, I shouldn't say major, but there is one issue that people have flagged up around the wheels. Now, the wheels are just under 1mm too small. They've been scaled down slightly incorrectly. What this does mean is that even though just under 1mm doesn't sound a great deal, when you put 2 wheels together, then you're looking at nearly a 2mm difference in the gap. Now, it is noticeable compared to what the vehicle should look like. However, if you're not aware of it and realism isn't a major issue for you, it still looks fine. However, if you want this to be 100% accurate and realistic, then I suggest that you possibly look at either moving the wheel located pins. That may well weaken the structure, but that's one option. Or the other option is to actually possibly get some aftermarket wheels that are more accurate. So just bear that in mind when you do come to the actual wheels themselves. As for the parts going together, superb. It is really well engineered, really well thought out. Even on the intricate parts, there's a wireless set, British number 18 set in the kit. Very intricate, but goes together beautifully. Very impressed indeed. The only real issue I had was when I put the two holes, the upper and lower hole together, especially around the compartment with the radiators in. That did need a little bit of attention there. Also do a lot of dry fitting, especially with the parts on the interior, because you'll need to put other parts together first and just see if they all fit in correctly. I will be doing a detailed build of this kit on video, so if you want to follow on, then you can get the exact information required, but I thought I didn't want to include that in this particular review. This is more a review of the kit rather than an actual build review. As you can see here, lots of small parts, lots of intricate parts. If you're careful like I was, I didn't lose anything at all. The plastic is very good indeed. It doesn't snap, so it tends to bend more than it actually snaps, so there are opportunities to straighten out the fragile parts if needed. Now, one thing about this kit, it doesn't have a metal barrel, which was a little bit disappointing. Fortunately, the barrel does come in one piece. However, there is a nasty seam line that does go down each side and will need attention. Thankfully, though, it doesn't go into the muzzle brake, so that was a great help. Now, one of the outstanding features for me of this kit was that the actual breech is movable, which I thought was pretty cool. Not come across that before. So you do have those options to have the breech moving if required. Here we're looking at the interior detailing of the fans and the radiators. If you want to have the hatches open, then you can do so, and there is sufficient detailing there. However, it's not 100% accurate, so if you want to add a few wires in there, I think there may even be a cooler tank missing. I didn't go into it in a great deal of detail, but for those of you who like to do a bit of scratch building and improvement, this could be a little project for you to do. Now, these are the mainly the interior parts. I will say this is very much two-half build, where you're going to have to do the majority of the building and then do the paintwork and weathering of the interior, then construct the interior, and then once that's done, then you can finish off building the outside part of the model, and then do your final painting and weathering. So just be aware of that. If you want to get a good result from this, then you are going to have to do this build in 2 stages of building and weathering. These are the clear parts. The visors there are plastic options as well if you don't want to use the clear parts. Mainly the clear parts are there so that you can have the lenses if you so wish. The PE set, you have to use these items. There are no plastic alternatives. The PE set itself is very good indeed. There were a couple of parts that do not have fold lines, and you will need to use your own fold line. The majority of it I was able to use the pliers to bend, but you will need to have a bending tool for some of the parts. But on the whole, I was very impressed with the PE set. As far as the grab handles for the shell cartridges, you do get some spare ones, which I was grateful for, so I did lose a couple while I was making the model. and the good thing is that the majority, 95% of the PE will be used. Now, as far as the decals go, very impressed indeed. You have the British, Canadian, as well as the Polish markings. My only gripe was that there is one full shell in the kit, and you get one full shell decals. However, you got no decals at all for all the shell casings that are in the storage in the interior, which is a little bit of a shame, but not a major issue. Now, this is the so-called tow rope. Bin it. It's a waste of time. Really, you do need to have a metal tow rope, which you can pick up from most stores. These are the springs that go onto the interior of one of the chairs. A little bit too big for my liking, but not a major issue, and they do work. It's a fun little part to add to the kit. So there we have it. Superb kit, very impressed, highly recommend it. Criticism, maybe it would have been nice to have some figures like the Tamiya one, but other than that, I have no real issues with the kit at all. Lots of options if you want to add on your own stowage, etc. So I hope you've enjoyed the review. Many thanks for looking in.